Good afternoon, and welcome to the first week of digital literacy. My name is Justin Hardy, and I'm one of the instructors for digital literacy. And today we're going to talk a little bit about personal branding. Now, personal branding does involve something that is continuous in through your time here at LA Film School. This is something you're going to be thinking about quite a bit as you go from course to course into your core classes, where you'll be actually executing all the things and activities that you're going to be using in your preferred degree program. But it's also going to be very helpful for week one's activity. And we're going to go over some of the basics of personal branding, such as some of the myths behind personal branding, some of the laws concerning personal branding, and some things you want to keep in mind there, and the personal branding process. So, what is personal branding? Well, personal branding is how you can start to marry your professional acumen, everything you're good at, whether you're an animator, whether you're a music producer, whether you're an illustrator like me, whether you're a director. And then you're going to meld that with who you are personally and your value system and what you believe. And that's, of course, going to be subjective from person to person. But it's about finding that comfortable split where you're able to represent yourself professionally, but also let some of your character bleed through so people know you're not just a robot who wants money. You want to convince people that you um, are an individual and you've got drive and you've got a passion for whatever it is that you do, and you want that to come across, but you also want to make sure that you're approachable and on a professional level, people can speak to you and feel comfortable thinking about exchanging money for your services, perhaps. So think about how you would be described professionally and personally. Keep that in mind, both professionally and personally. So, personal branding, by definition, is the process by which we market ourselves to others and how we represent ourselves online. Whether that's going to be through your Instagram account, your Facebook account, your Twitter account, all of that is representative of you, of your self expression online, whether it's something that's curated and very carefully maintained or something you just put online as a type of online journal so you have memories to keep track of. You want to think about how you represent yourself online. Think about how you want to portray yourself professionally in person and the things that you would do and the steps that you would take. You would maybe dress nicer. You would clean up your language a little bit. You would probably present yourself in a completely different way than you would if you were just hanging out with your friends or you were hanging out with your family. So think of that professional mode that you feel like is your best self professionally, and think about translating that to the internet and the steps you might want to take to make that happen. So, as a brand, as a personal brand that we can cultivate for ourselves, we can use all the same strategies that make celebrities or corporate brands appeal to various audiences. So, think, for example, the company Nike. They sell athletic wear. They're mostly known for selling shoes, but they don't use any of those in their marketing. They use athletes. They use the concept of effort and the pursuit of perfection and training and all of these concepts that cover athleticism, but not necessarily talking about the material in their shoes or where the shoes are made or anything like that. They're reaching a higher concept, emotionally charged um, sphere for their brand rather than just focusing on the shirts that they sell or the shoes that they sell or any of those accessories. That's not the most important part. The most important part is having that athletic drive, that passion to surpass your limitations. That's how their branding works. You can also think about the difference between Ferrari and Honda. Ferrari is a luxury brand. If you're not familiar with their cars, a lot of them don't tend to come with air conditioning. They have manual windows that you have to roll up and roll down. Sometimes they come with a radio, sometimes they don't. They are driving machines, and the people that own those type of vehicles understand what kind of driving machine it is, and that it's meant to be more powerful than most cars that you would see on the road and kind of reflect that in the visuals. Whereas with a Honda is still a car, has all the same functionality as a Honda, probably a little bit more depending on what kind you pick. But they both have brakes, they both have accelerators, they both have gears, windows, windshield wipers, all of the standard bells and whistles that you'll find on a car. But the branding for Honda is going to be more for the everyman because they're more affordable, they're more approachable, they're not going to be as flashy as a Ferrari, but that's not the point. They have completely different markets, so their branding is going to be for completely different markets. Also consider Steven Spielberg as a film director. He creates movies that are family friendly, that have strong characterization, strong storytelling, and that emotional connection that makes his films stick in your head for a very, very long time. And finally, we have Mark Zuckerberg, who is the CEO of Facebook. He's got a particular brand that he likes to represent both in the United States and abroad, China specifically. And he's going to definitely tailor his brand to make sure that he best represents not only himself, but his multinational company that is also tied directly to his name. So, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook as a brand really are interconnected. So, if one's reputation kind of dips, that can also cause the other to dip. So there's going to be a relationship there. So just like Mark Zuckerberg's brand is inseparable from Facebook, your personal brand is going to be inseparable from yourself. Whether or not you're using your real name or your professional name or a pen name or an art name or a handle or whatever it happens to be, however you represent yourself online, make sure that it translates who you are personally, but also has that a professional appeal so people feel more comfortable discussing business with you. So there are a couple of laws of personal branding, and we're going to tie directly into the first one with authenticity. Make sure that you understand what it is that you want to deliver with your brand before you take yourself out there in the world and perhaps misrepresent yourself. So it's extremely important that you define your brand before someone else does it for you. We all know that sometimes we like to put others in boxes, or we put concepts in boxes, and we kind of put a shit off to the side because it's easier to think of it as a more general sort of thing. You don't want that to happen to you. Don't let someone put you as a music producer in the same box as all of the other music producers that they've met, or all of the other film directors or film editors or computer animators that they've run into. Don't let them do that. Define your brand, define your limitations, define what you're capable of delivering to a high level, and that's going to allow you to set the tone in terms of discussions with potential clients or potential partners. So that's going to also involve a little bit of transparency. So it's better to be straightforward and honest with your abilities and brand. Just like I said a little bit earlier, know your limitations and know where you're a high performer so that you can be authentic with what you are able to provide and transparent on how you're able to provide that. So you're making people feel even more safe by being transparent and straightforward with them. Hey, I'm very good at this set of skills here. I'm willing to learn skill Y, but if you want help with skill Z, I know someone, but I can't do it for you. Your clients and your partners are going to appreciate that, and then you're not painting yourself in a corner by offering services that you know you can't deliver on. So be very careful about that. And the last one is going to involve a little bit of effort on your behalf, and this part really does pay off. So in today's social media age, if you're not known, you don't exist. If you don't have a Twitter, if you don't have a Facebook, if you don't have an Instagram, that's okay, but no one's going to know who you are or how to find you. If you don't have a business card and you meet a potential client or a potential partner, are you just going to exchange cell phone numbers? That's completely fine, but you'd leave a lasting impression if you had a business card with your brand on it, right? So consider taking that extra step to define your personal brand. Whip up something that has your personal brand on it. So when you do meet someone out there in the wild that speaks your language in terms of the industry, you have a way to instantly connect with them, and they're going to remember that interaction far and above just exchanging a phone number. So keep that in mind. So even a basic presence online can make all the difference. If you're not a fan of Facebook and you swore it off forever, you don't have to use that. You can use Twitter, Instagram, or your social media platform of choice. But the point is that you do want a presence online, even if it's a website with your name for the address. That's enough. You don't have to have any social media, but you do want something online because it lowers the bar with which people can interact and connect with you. They don't have to see you in person. They don't have to have your phone number. All they need is a URL or a web address, and they can access your information, learn more about you, see your work, and then if they're willing and able, they can reach out to you and start a dialogue. So keep in mind authenticity, transparency, and visibility. Now, some of the steps of personal branding are also going to involve a little bit of effort on your behalf. So you want to think about discovery. What are you capable of? What are you really good at? What are some of your weaknesses that you would like to work on? Think about all of those things, and then you want to move on to the creation process. So part of discovery is going to involve creation. You've got to get all those bad ideas out. You've got to get all those false avenues out of the way, because unless you try, you don't necessarily know what it is that you're good at. You might have a good idea, but you don't necessarily know for sure. So discovery and creation go hand in hand. But once you start finding something that is your niche and you find something that people really respond to, you want to start that creation process wholesale and then move into the communication process. So communicating and creating are going to start to come into a symbiotic relationship, because the things you make are hopefully going to be responded to by an audience, or you're going to get feedback from people that are working with you, or are fans of what you create. So you're going to create that dialogue with your fan base or with your partners or your business clients to better refine your capabilities and to deliver a superior product over time. So reaching out to your fan base, reaching out to your clients or your partners, and creating that dialogue on a professional level now gives you the opportunity to kind of share your art with them, get feedback, refine your artwork, and share it again. And that creates a feedback loop where you're constantly getting better and your audience grows as you're sharing and communicating what you're creating with the world, and perhaps some of your journeys in terms of learning all the new techniques that you've discovered. And now you've got a couple of new fans that want to do what you do, and that starts the cycle all over again. And that's going to involve maintenance. So you want to discover what you're good at, discover the edges of what you're capable of. You want to start creating new material and sharing that material with the world. And based on the feedback you get back, you're going to create more, you're going to discover more, and you're going to continue that communication process and build your community. So it's about maintenance. This is not a one and done thing. This is not something that you can just create, set, and forget and hope it grows on its own without you. It's not like a bank account. It's not like an investment account. You've got to continually reap those rewards like a farmer. As you put in work, you reap your work, you grow your fan base, you grow those professional contacts, and your personal brand, as a consequence, becomes more powerful for you. So here are some questions that you can ask yourself. Who are you? Who do you want to be? And what do you want to do in your life? No, those are very heavy questions to ask yourself if you're a little bit younger. But if you're a little bit older, you've probably already gone through this process. But think about this in the vein of your personal brand. Who are you, and what kind of personal brand do you want? Who do you want to be, and how do you want to represent that online? And what do you want to do in life? And is that something you want to do for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? That's also going to inform your personal brand. And back to what we were discussing earlier about creation. You want to make sure that you create and maintain your personal brand either using social media, your personal website, or in addition to traditional formats like business cards. So it's more important than ever to become your own public relations representative. This is the soapbox that I was standing on just a few minutes ago about making sure that you represent yourself online and communicate with the people around you that want to do business with you. And of course, what we talked about a little bit ago as well, maintaining your brand like a company or celebrities is going to grow and develop as you find your place in your industry and find your audience. Okay. Here's how you can maintain and establish your reputation online. Think about using Facebook. Think about using Twitter or Instagram or a combination of the three, in addition to having a portfolio website or your personal website. Certain combination of these, there's no right or wrong way to put those together. It's all going to depend on what you want to do and what you want people to find. And you also want to consider that 80 million names are run through Google's search engine every single day. Your name might be one of them. My name certainly might be one of them. You want to be careful about what people might be able to find online if they do happen to Google your first and last name. 70 or 90 to 90% of employers are using social networks to vet their employees or to look for prospective employees. You never know when you can find someone good. So that's also going to be another aspect of your personal brand that you want to keep in mind. You never know where someone can find you. So cast your net as wide as you can, create those different avenues for discovery, and people will eventually come to you as long as you create and communicate that you're available and ready to do some work. And the last question I'm going to leave you with is, what do you want people to find? Do you want people to find someone who's a partier, who stays out all night, who has tons of wild photos online? Or do you want them to find someone who's professional, who has a clear body of work that looks really good, they can deliver results, and they've got endorsements from professional sources about how good they were to work with? One's going to be definitely more appealing for a business proposal than the other. So think about your personal brand, think about how you want to represent yourself online, and be careful about what you want people to find. Now, if you have any questions about personal branding, you can contact me. I'm one of the instructors for digital literacy, or you can contact one of the other instructors for digital literacy, depending on what section you're in. So this covers the personal branding concept for week 1. If you have any questions, let us know. But otherwise,